Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kauai County Council Roundup here at the Hawaii Studios. This is Chair Mel Rapozo with Vice Chair Kualii, Kipukai Kualii.
Aloha.
And we will be talking about yesterday's committee meetings, February 5th, and we just had one item on the agenda that we had discussion on, and it was really an update or a briefing really from our Kauai Emergency Management Agency Director, Elton Ushio, as well as our representatives from the American Red Cross regional and national offices, and they were on via Zoom, and it was
In
really
our Public Safety and Human Services Committee.
correct. And this was at the request of Councilmember Felicia Cowden, and it really was a discussion on our capabilities, the capacity, and it was pretty interesting discussion on especially the sheltering. Ms. Cowden did bring up some of the issues, the after action report with the Maui fires, that sheltering was an issue, and actually we had found some information that was quite interesting as far as our capacity here on Kauai. I didn't know until yesterday that our convention hall, the Kauai War Memorial Convention Hall, and the Kilauea Gym are both off of the shelter list because it doesn't meet the standards that are set forth nationally. So that creates an issue for capacity in the event we need to provide
They
shelters.
said they're being worked on and they hope to get it back online soon, but right now it's not on the list. Yeah.
And we spoke on the challenges on both the county side as well as the Red Cross. And I think right now, one of the bigger challenges for the Red Cross here in Kauai is the fact that we don't have an island manager. We had one, he left, and now that position sits vacant. And it's very difficult. If you think about how the American Red Cross is set up, it is an amazing organization, basically across the country, and they provide services during time of need. And imagine the task of, number one, recruiting volunteers, training volunteers, organizing all these volunteers, and having that agency on Kauai without an executive director or a manager is difficult, and it's
Yeah.
causing a problem.
The Red Cross folks did go through all their positions and their hierarchy, how it works. And it does sound like they're kind of regrouping and hiring new folks and trying to fill vacancies. But it was interesting because they did say too that it was challenging because the pay is not necessarily, good enough for what's required in those jobs.
For the Hawaii cost of living,
Yeah.
it is severely undervalued. So
I think, Chair, you even said, if you need us to send a letter of support, who's the people responsible for what those pay rates are,
yeah, because for the job that is required, the tasks that are required, the training, I mean, it's not an easy job. And then, I looked it up yesterday. It's very hard to find, but it's on the AmericanRedCross.org website. If you click on the About Us button, there's a career opportunities, and you can find the listing there. So if any of you are interested in that position, I think it pays somewhere in the mid $60,000 a year range. And again, it's not bad. But for our market here, it's difficult to find those people qualified and willing. It's hard work, but it's rewarding work. So if you know of anyone that could do that, they are definitely looking for someone to fill that vacancy.
And Kima has all the shelters, right? They said that the formal name is Hurricane Refuge Areas, so I guess they call it that instead of shelters, but I think most people will probably just keep calling it shelters. But they have the entire list on their website, and I was curious to see that several of them, at least 2 in the central area, 2 out of the 6, and 2 out of the 3 on the east side, and 2 out of the 5 in the north, and both of the ones listed on the west side, Waimea Canyon and Waimea High School, they all accept pets. The main thing though is you have to bring your pet in a crate, so
Yeah.
they can't just be loose running around because I guess people and the pets are in too close area, right? So
Yeah, and I think it's quite understandable that you would do that. But the reality is we got to really put some focus on this area because we know how important shelters are in the event of natural disasters. And the North Shore, for example, we need to get shelters out there for our North Shore people, because that North Shore, with the way the bridge condition is, oftentimes they get isolated and there is really nowhere to go. So we got to make sure we have shelters everywhere should the roadway be blocked. And it's
Well, and also any of the locations that historically they've had in the past, like Hanalei Elementary and Halehalavai and the courthouse, it's all right there, in the tsunami zone. So, we have to figure something else out too.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point we got to start having the discussion of creating shelters, large shelters that, which comes to the dome comes to mind, that there are prefabricated shelters out there that we can
I
possibly.
don't know too much about it, but I think the Hanalei Initiative folks with Joel Guy and his whole board and group, I think they're doing something with a resiliency hub and trying to figure something out. So that would probably double as a hurricane refuge area or in a shelter as well, I think.
Yeah, so I think the biggest takeaway was, I think we really got to reinforce the relationship between the county and the Red Cross, and we got to make sure we can make the best out of this relationship, because the county can't do it. The county cannot do it all, and the Red Cross cannot do it all. But together, I think there's some major opportunities.
Elton did say too that their focus, because he talked about how the new Kauai High School gym, right? So that was built to a Category 3 standard, which I guess it's stronger than. So obviously, new facilities are being built with, evacuation center, double serving as a shelter in mind. And that to go back and try and retrofit some of the existing shelters would be too costly. So they're pretty much focusing on trying to make sure that any new facilities built are built to, to meet those standards. New construction, especially larger facilities, right? So you can house the most people possible.
Yeah, and there's also incentives for when new construction of homes are coming up, that if you set up a room as a safe room, there's also some incentives there as well. So very informative briefing, folks. I would encourage you to watch it if you're interested. And again, you can watch our meetings on Hawaii Channel 53, or you can go to our website at www.kauai.gov, hit the webcast meeting button, and you can watch any of our meetings. They're all archived there. Or you can watch us live on Wednesdays at 8:30 in the morning. So short recap today. We just had that one item, and it was very informative, though. I encourage all of you to go ahead and watch it. And again, much mahalo to Hawike, Roger here, our cameraman, and all of the staff here that makes it possible for us to be here every week to give you guys a real quick roundup and try to keep you guys informed. So, any other words?
See you next week. Thank you,
Until then, ahui ho, folks. Take care. God bless.
Aloha.